There's new gym beats dropping on Carnivore Beats YouTube this week.
Carnivore frequency breaks the spell. You're not alone. You're just awake. Meat was the switch you had to take.
Should be, yes.
Who am I upsetting?
Well, me for one. But there's a lot of other people. Because we can smell the barbecue.
Okay.
You know.
You can't smell a barbecue because I've not had my barbecue yet. Thank you very much.
Well, no, and that's why I was just telling you, before you,
Darling,
make
you live like 4
great
houses
meal.
down. You live like 4 houses down. If you're a vegan, all right, yeah, you can go home and do that, yeah. But I'm not over here bashing one out to a tree, all right, yeah. So let go of my coal.
No, because you've got to return this, see?
I'm not going to return it. Return it to who?
I don't want to be smelling, roasting flesh.
That ain't roasting flesh, love. I'm not putting my bloody son on the barbecue, am I, darling?
Well, you might as well be.
There.
You might as well be. What's the difference, really?
Well,
that chicken is somebody else's son.
Am I, love? I'm eating a fine
chickens
delicacy.
Are people too. Chickens are people too.
Chickens
and
not
it would do.
People, love. What? Love, you've been watching a bit too much Chicken Run and Chicken Little, haven't you?
They've all got personalities. They've all got personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't see it when they get it.
And the personalities are better inside a bun.
Welcome to the meat of the matter, where truth meets steak and clarity cuts through the noise. You're listening to Food for Thought, a carnivore-powered conversation on health, healing, and living without fear.
Oh, no, don't. That's horrible. Oh, it's so horrible when you think about it.
You're listening to Food for Thought, a carnivore-powered conversation on health, healing, and living without fear.
This is
the meat of the matter.
If it had beaks and feathers on it, you'd be thinking different.
I wouldn't be eating it with the beaks and feathers, will I, love?
Exactly.
I don't want to have a bloody fur feather cut down my throat.
So hypocritical, people. You need to take this back anyway, because we've lobbied very hard for this to go into effect this summer. No barbecues, because it was upsetting last year.
I bet it was.
Welcome to the meat of the matter,
where
truth meets steak and clarity cuts through the noise. You're listening to Food for Thought, a carnivore-powered conversation on health, healing, and living without fear.
Roasting carcass. That's
I don't even know what these words mean. Look, no one's roasting anything. Yeah? If you want to roast in here, go have your roasting. I'm going to be grilling barbecue on my George Foreman grill.
You've got to be going to the vegan channel and educating yourself.
Vegan channel?
Yes, the vegan channel. Educate yourself. Yes, that's right. Educating yourself. And then you'd know what carcass meant, and you'd know about the beaks and the feathers. And it's not nice. And then you'd think, oh, right, do you know what? I joked about my son being put on a barbecue, but it's like someone else's son being put on a barbecue.
Love, you know what I'm going to do, yeah? I'm going to have my barbecue, yeah? And I'm going to have a fantastic time. And you know what I'll do? I'll send you a plate over. How about I do that?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, you're horrendous.
I put all the meat on there. No carbs, no veg,
horrendous.
just meat. How about that?
else is sick and fucking tired of seeing all the carnivore shit all over these fucking apps. No one cares if you only eat meat. Every single one of you have to identify by carnivore fucking Connie, carnivore Ken, whatever the fuck your name is, and you add carnivore to the end of it on your fucking bio is fucking weird. Weird. You're literally treating your diet like a fucking religion. A religion. A meat religion. Okay? Like, what in the absolute meat fuck is this shit? Your fucking boards with your eggs and your cheese and your fucking butter and your dates. Who cares? You can't shit. Your fiber intake is fucking zero, and you think you're just fucking trudging through life getting all healthy. Get the fuck out of here. No one cares. Your meat fucking ass, your meat farts, your meat sweats. No one wants to fucking hear about it.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome into the Meat of the Matter podcast. We are live. We are charged up. We've had a crazy week. A lot of stuff is happening, and we have a very special guest. Like always, that is Mark. He is Peter. I'm Tony. And today we've got Bill. Just before we introduce him, we did an interview with Bill. Please check it out on our Meat of the Matter channel, the Cumbrian Carnivore. Bill, how are you doing today? We got some things to talk about. We're so happy that you could join us and give your take on a few things. How are we doing, everybody?
Yeah, good.
Peter, Mark, how are things? How's the week?
All good, sir. All good. Looking forward to getting stuck into this one today.
Yeah.
All good.
We had a little conversation all throughout the week, and some things have happened to me with my channel, specifically on my TikTok channel. I got a strike. I was talking a series about cancer and just how many people have been affected by it, and I can't believe, like, as soon as we mentioned the industry of it, the business side of it, the research, the drugs. Of course, they take the interview down. So, is my audio okay, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so yeah, I thought we'd get into some stuff about the controversial side of things, which leads us into why we wanted to bring Bill on, because he had a video that we're going to play about, a carnivore influencer has passed away, sadly, and we're going to talk about how everybody's ready to pounce on this crazy carnivore diet and how, it's unsustainable, it's unhealthy, and, they're looking at any opportunity to give us some bad rap. So we're going to defend it today, guys. I think that's in order. And specifically in the UK, he was a UK influencer. So let's just dive right into it. Once again, we do appreciate all the support, the questions, the comments, and please like and subscribe to all the channels. You know who we are, especially this one. We've launched our brand new Meat of the Matter podcast channel, so we do appreciate it. And so boys, let's get right into it today, because I think we're going to be, I've got a lot of things to talk about. A couple things have happened to me in my life just in the last 2 days that I think tie into this really well. And we'll play this first little clip. And then we'll get the video that Bill did, and then we'll get right into it. So here we go. And then here's what Bill had to say, and we'll get into this, boys.
This is what annoys me about the media. The guy died because he had a heart defect, not because he was on the carnivore diet.
So very simple, Bill. Well said. Just your thoughts. Let's start with you, Bill. What are you thinking? What do you feel about this?
Well, it's starting to annoy me, really, because everyone's jumping on that bandwagon and blaming the carnivore diet and telling us we must have carbs, we can't survive without carbs, and they're just trying to make something out of nothing. And the media, we're fed so many lies by the media anyway, but it's their narrative. And it's all done to sell papers. So every carnivore in the world that saw that will be jumping onto that paper to see what the crack is. And then you know, it's a few lines down, and then you realise that it was nothing to do with the carnivore. So why did they have to, you know, reiterate that he's the carnivore and he gave up, you know, sugar and carbs and just went for meat and fat, and you know, it just outraged me, and I just thought I need to say something here, because you know, I'm getting it all the time on my channel as well, where you're getting the naysayers coming on and contradicting what you're saying with the narrative that everybody goes with, you know, the eat little and often, and the other one that they keep hitting me with is I did one on rice, and well, if rice is so unhealthy, why are the Asian population healthier than everyone else? Well, actually, the mortality rate, the highest mortality rate, is Europe, and Asia has not got a massive high mortality rate. You know, we're about 5 years difference between Europe and Asia. There's, with the exception of Japan, who eat lots of fish, lots of meat. You know, so yeah, that's my little rant anyway.
No, that's brilliant, man. I feel you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just think they were waiting for the chance to pounce. It was only a matter of time. They've been listening. We've been seeing this on TV now in the last year. We've seen all these TV programs bash the carnivore diet, saying how bad it was. All these dietitians, we see them every week talking about it. It was only a matter of time before somebody was going to do the carnivore diet, and they're going to like, okay, this person died of the carnivore diet. One person out of millions of people we're focusing on. And like what Bill said, if you actually read the article, it had nothing to do with the carnivore diet. This was all genetic. Like people just don't. It drives me mad, because I was the same. People were sending me messages all week. I told you so. I told you this diet was a fad. I told you, like, what you're saying at the moment is all bullshit. And this drove me crazy. I was like, okay, well, listen, what do you say to the other people? What do you say to the other 1 million people that are actually doing the carnivore diet and they're thriving? They've done amazing things. They put their conditions into remission. Like, what do you say to these people? So honestly, when I seen the article, I had to send it on to you guys straight away, because I was like, okay, here we go. The mainstream media is gonna. This is going to blow up, and I can guarantee you, one of the channels this week is actually going to pick it up, and it's going to go all over. It's going to go all over the news, and it's going to get even bigger than what it is at the moment. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen, right? And then at least they have the decency to wait 1 or 2 weeks. But yeah, I was already expecting texts like "I told you so" in the video, and so to me it looked like a decent video for what we are used to from the media. And yeah, it's a sign of weakness, basically, that the contestants of the carnivore diet have to resort to cherry picking out examples of influencers, or Alex Cannon in this case. And there are a few other examples like this Florida cheese guy. And if you dive into it, you'll just see that it typically has nothing to do with the carnivore diet. And in every population, people die. In every population, people die from heart attacks, do crazy stuff. There are also carnivores doing other things besides the carnivore diet, maybe. There are a lot of influencers you can cherry pick on that broadcast all wrong information about the carnivore diet, also carnivores themselves sometimes. And also in studies, it's all the same. And that really bothers me a lot, especially also when with this recent keto CTA study. Again, you can always cherry pick that it's a population of 100 people with a history of years and years of lifestyle and diet. And then you look at the study results of 1 year. There was also another example of a case study, and it was also totally misrepresented. Then they talk about keto carnivore, and the person was still eating like 100 grams of carbs a day and that sort of stuff. So, and instead, they never dive into the case studies of people that get healthy and thrive on it.
I'm gonna play it again. Just I want to point out one thing. For how long? What the hell does that have to do with the sad passing of somebody? You know, like I think back to, you know, my life and what I've done and how I've, you know, health was the last thing on my mind in my 20s and 30s. If I were to have a heart attack tomorrow, is that because of my diet over the last 4 years that has led me to reversing my diabetes, you know, curing my insomnia, having all these mental issues clear up and physical issues clear up, and I have a heart attack? What is that cause? It's definitely isn't what happened to me in the last 4 years. And I think that's the thing where we it's all over the place, and it's so easy to blame genetics when it suits it, because that's the reason, and then they flip and then they'll blame what you're doing, the intervention, and it seems like there's never context. And what Bill was touching on is the media drives this, you know, they decide what agenda they want to push, or the, you know, the possibilities, and it's really, really pisses me off, because, you know, it reminds, Mark and I talked about this a little bit before, like a couple of days ago, where during the pandemic, healthy people die too. Well, in my perspective, healthy people don't have heart attacks, period. Like, heart attacks didn't exist before the 1900s, you know, and then they say, well, they didn't know how to diagnose it. Okay, so some farmer drops dead in the field in the afternoon. They don't know why? Bullshit. That doesn't make sense to me. They would know that there is a problem. And then you look at the push in the 50s with Eisenhower having a heart attack. And like, if you read the book, My Big Fat Surprise by Nina Tushholz, you'll see the evolution of this shit, of how heart disease became the big thing, and it leads into cholesterol. So it's such a narrative driven bullshit thing. And I have to tell you guys, my uncle yesterday had a heart attack. He's in his 70s, early 70s, and he's arguably healthy. Arguably. And I'm going to tell you, he's all over me about me eating meat. He's like, you're going to die. This is crazy. This is crap. And I know we're Italian. We eat pasta. He eats a lot of pasta. He's healthy. He eats a lot of fiber. I can tell you, I can almost guarantee you, I don't know exactly what his diet was like, but he was one of the people that were following the mainstream stuff. And sure enough, he's in the hospital now, waiting to be a stent to be put in. And already the conversations with my family, within the family, cholesterol, you're going to watch this thing. It's ridiculous, man. And, you know, this is where we're at. And it's really, really frustrating. Bill, you know, you made the one video. What, have you had anybody talk to you about this?
No one's used it against me, which I'm surprised about. But you know, on my other posts, there's always people that are disagreeing with me on the other posts with no foundations whatsoever. Yeah. It's just you know, just contradictory with no backup. You know, but yeah, no one's actually said, "Oh, what about this?" You know, maybe I haven't got that many following for him to do that, but you know, my following is growing steady, and you know so I was away at the weekend there. You know, just a nice little story. So I was at a festival, a music and beer festival at the weekend, and I was sat there last night, and a young lad came up to me and he said, "You don't recognise me, do you, Bill?" And I said, "Sorry, people are coming at me, know me that I don't know." And he says, "Oh, I helped you to empty your parents' house with my granddad." And he says, "And I want to thank you." He said, because of your diet and what you're posting, I started that diet and I've lost 4 stone.
Amazing.
And that's in the last 3 months.
Wow.
You know,
that's cool.
And so the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. You know, I did the Seawall 7 miler a couple of weeks ago, and somebody I was at school with, always been fit and one of these athletic types, and he was saying about how I'd lost the weight, and I said, well, I only eat meat and fat, mainly fat, and he said, but you need carbs. I said, I'm 7 months on. Do I look like I need carbs? But you need it for energy. I've just completed 7 miles. You know, do you see a Twix in my hand or a Mars bar in my hand? You know, it just, you know, look at me. You know, it's like, am I dying? Am I dead? What's going on? Where's the carbs? I don't need carbs. And it's that people just don't get it because it's stuck in here. You know, this narrative that we've lived, and I lived for 57 years with that narrative. Oh, little and often, you know. Oh, you make sure you have plenty of good carbs. Make sure that you have the protein, but no fat. Don't have the fats, you know. And it's like people are brainwashed, and it's like this. You know, the veil was taken away from my eyes, you know, and when I realised, I thought, right, and, you know, it was that decision, right, that's it, I'm quitting those sugars. I'm not having no sugars anymore. I'm not going to be beholden to sugar. And I made that decision without any research. It just made sense to me. You've got type 2 diabetes that's through the roof. You've got high blood pressure. You've got gout, you know, fatty liver disease. How can I reverse this? Well, the step to start off, the diabetes. You've got to get rid of the diabetes. How do we get rid of the diabetes? Well, if sugar causes diabetes, well, stop the sugar. It's not rocket science, is it? And then, you know, I started talking to my mate who was carnivore. He's been carnivore for about 5 years now. And, you know, it made sense. It made sense. So I did transition into carnivore, but, you know, it was more keto to start with, but that's how I lost the, but then I couldn't be bothered with all the cooking and pretending that bread was bread when it wasn't even bread, you know, that was,
no kidding.
You know, what's the point? I mean, I had this conversation the other day on Friday night with somebody. Oh yeah, well I don't have sugar. Oh really? No, I have my coffee without sugar. Right. So what do you normally eat? Well, I have lots of potatoes and lots of rice and lots of pasta. So you take sugar then? No, I don't take sugar. I don't take sugar. But you do. It's like.
How many times have all of us had that conversation, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the other one is we need glucose to survive.
That's a good thing that you mentioned, Bill.
Yes.
What you mentioned that you were keto. Well, it's a good thing you mentioned that you were keto before so you weren't carnivores all at once. And I think many of us have that. And that's the weird thing, that as soon as you become a carnivore, they treat you as carnivore. Well, all these things, type 2 diabetes and so on, the fair story is that also the keto diet and low carb would help a lot of people. And I think we all agree that those are also very good diets. But somehow, if you try to measure things out, and half of us has the word carnivore in their name, as soon as you are a carnivore, you're sort of disqualified. And everything you're uttering is suddenly total nonsense.
Yeah.
And
if anybody, sorry, Mark, 1 sec. If anybody wants to hear Bill's story, we did an interview with him, and go onto our channel. It's there, the Cumbrian Carnivore, and it's pretty good. Bill knows his stuff, and it's this logic that gets dropped on everybody, which the world needs. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention what Bill mentioned earlier on about the mortality rate in Asia. He was saying like, okay, the mortality rate mightn't be that high in Asia, but what is high in Asia is diabetes. Diabetes is one of the top. I think it's in the top 5 countries in the world that have the highest rate of diabetes going on, and they have no idea what's going on. They eat a lot of rice. So everybody keeps on convincing me that rice is healthy for you, but yet these people eat rice every single day, and their diabetes rates are going through the roof.
And seed oils have crept in as well
in
Asia. There's more and more where they never used to use seed oils. Now they're using more and more seed oils.
Yeah, I just saw a really, really good talk with Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, and she lays this out. If anybody's interested, it was on Jesse Chappis. And I've been a big fan of the GAPS protocol to get reset. I mean, she's like this warm-hearted grandmother. Like, she is and her explanation of all of what you guys were just talking about, of why India is the most diabetes, what actually happened, and holy crap, it was unbelievable. And her take on human beings don't need plants, and her breakdown of it was fantastic. And it was like, I anybody who's starting off with this healing and doesn't know what's going on, autoimmune stuff, check out the GAPS protocol. It's a great way to start, and it starts with meat stock, drinking meat stock, depending on your tolerance, and a lot of this stuff is subjective. But I feel all of that, because look at the big 3, and we're talking about heart disease right now, which is the #1 killer in the world globally. #1, one out of maybe even 1.5 out of all 4 of us is going to die of a heart attack. Now, that never used to be that way. It wasn't there before this whole fat, processed food, seed oil revolution. So we're blaming sugar, like, collectively, but it's a combination of everything. Our modern lives have been leading us down this track. Now, if we've all gone low fat, if we've said sugar is okay in moderation, if we've done the vegetable oils, the heart healthy grains, we've got these wicked drugs called statins that's all about getting our cholesterol in check, and heart disease is still going up.
Exactly. Doesn't make sense.
Is the human being de-evolving? Well, I think they're forcing that, actually. You know what I mean? They're making us get sicker, fatter, faster. And, now you're going to find, in recently, we're going to find that heart disease is going to happen to people younger and younger and younger. When is it going to be, like, addressed that there is a serious problem with all this shit? And, it's all their arguments and their logic just back up the same bullshit that got us here.
I think you didn't mention the biggest thing, actually, that we started to smoke less.
Yes.
Which should make a huge difference on heart disease.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not sure about lung cancer rates, but we know cancer rates are going up. And I'm waiting to get into that side of things, because we got a lot to say about that as well. But if you look at the big 3 diseases, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, all of them in the mainstream medical system, diabetes, manage your blood sugar. Heart disease, cut out the salt. They don't talk about the sugar. They talk about cholesterol and fat. And cancer, well, if you're from the metabolic side of cancer, sugar is the driver of the disease. Nobody talks about the sugar being the problem in these 3 diseases. If you have diabetes, like Bill said, I was pre-diabetic. I'm not anymore. Why? I didn't eat sugar. Fucking pretty simple, right? And that's
it's very, very annoying that when you have these conversations with these experts, most of them will turn around and say diabetes is not caused by eating sugar. It's not diagnosed by eating sugar. It's like, oh my God. They'll turn around and say it's only when you mix fat and sugar. Yeah. We spoke about this a few weeks ago on the Randall cycle. Yeah. It's extremely frustrating. Like, the cause of most people's problems is inflammation. Now, what's going to have the biggest impact on inflammation? It's not going to be protein. It's not going to be fats. Nowhere near. So, okay, then what's going on? Then we need to look at the other macronutrient, and we need to be asking the question, hang on a second. When we look at the 3 macronutrients, which ones are essential? We have essential amino acids. Where does essential amino acids come from? Comes from protein. Yeah. Simple. We've been taught this for years. Everybody should know this. The dietitians, nutritionists, you guys should know this. The next one is fats, essential fatty acids. We know this. We've been taught this for years. We know this. None of us were taught about carbohydrates. I wasn't taught about carbohydrates when I went to nutrition school 20 years ago. I wasn't taught about, okay, your carbohydrate is not a non-essential macronutrient. I wasn't taught this. I wasn't taught anything about vegetables either. I was told, okay, these are essential. These should be part of the diet.
Yeah, and if you look at what they say, they fall back on is well, carbohydrates aren't essential. Yeah, but they're conditional, and you need them. They don't mention that you know the glucose requirements, and then they'll say, well, it's the preferred fuel source. I'm like, not from infancy, man. It wouldn't have happened. Back 300 years ago, you wouldn't be sucking on sugar. It wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
We're going to have all our...
Yeah, see, people need to understand this very, very quickly. That when people go on about your body needs glucose, your brain needs glucose, people need to understand. I don't know how many times we say this. Your body can produce this. Your body can do this through the liver. It can do this through the muscle. You can get this through animal-based meat, through gluconeogenesis. Like this big, massive word, gluconeogenesis. People need to print this on their phone because they obviously don't understand what this is. They really don't understand. Your body can produce all the glucose it needs through an animal-based diet. You do not need to get this from eating excess carbohydrates. I just don't understand why people don't get this.
And just to put it into perspective, like gluconeogenesis, if your body has a system that's designed to do something, why are we shutting it off? Like even ketosis. Ketosis isn't new. This is a natural state that we're able to get into. And then they'll say, well, okay, no. You ketosis for too long is bad. You know, sugar you need, even though the liver can make it. Yeah, but you should give it sugar. Like it doesn't make sense. They shut down all these natural. We have insulin. You know, unfortunately, Peter does not. This is why he's type 1 diabetic. But we have this insulin mechanism to save us from excess sugar. Well, maybe we shouldn't be taxing the machine. You know, you're redlining your metabolism all the time. And like, we're not going to go to the sugar diet today because I want to be able to breathe. But it's unbelievable how we look at these things and all their, I mean, in my schooling, in nutrition school, they don't even acknowledge this stuff. They don't even acknowledge that we have two fuel sources. We have two fuel tanks, basically. We can switch back and forth.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wishful thinking and flawed reasoning because they say it's the preferred fuel source, carbohydrates. And in terms of exercise, carbohydrates are oxidized faster than, for example, in the digestive system, for example, it takes more time to digest proteins and fats, but there's nothing wrong with it. As long as your body continuously has gluconeogenesis and converts fats into sugar and stores it in your glycogen reserves, you'll have just as strong muscles and just as fast-acting muscles as with carbohydrates, because the only place where carbohydrates are fast is where they are converted to sugar, and that happens in the intestines. Yeah. So exactly. Once it's in the bloodstream, it's just glucose, and you cannot have more than like 3 or 4 grams. So it's like wishful thinking in the lines of where they want to go to.
Exactly. We were never primed to eat carbohydrates every 2 or 3 hours. Never. Yeah. Like who came up with this bullshit? Yeah. Who said that? Okay, we need to eat carbohydrates every 2 or 3 hours. Why can't we not just have sustained energy throughout the whole day? This is what our ancestors did. Like, where is this information coming from?
Yeah. The tricky thing is that it does work if you are on a high carb diet. That's a bit the problem. So if you start to eat more carbs and you're intensively exercising, then you'll get better performance because your body relies on carbohydrates. You're not fat adapted. And people fail to make the step towards the other population, the other metabolic context of ketosis and fat adapted energy provision.
No doubt. And that's the key, is fat adaptation. And I mean, I'm when I'm working with my clients, that's the first thing I explain is you have to be fat adapted, and then we can start to play around. But if you're not fat adapted, what the hell? If you're hungry all the time, you know, it's what drives that? You know, like we all know that. Like eat a bunch of candy and see how you feel. I mean, you're gonna.
Most people don't even know that fat adapted is a thing. Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, "Oh, well, I'm fat adapted," and she laughed, and she said, "Well, what's that mean?" I says, "Well, I've got plenty of stored fat. I burn fat for fuel. I don't burn anything else. It's fat. And it's a constant cycle, like Peter was saying, that because you're fat adapted, your body is constantly feeding you the glucose that you need through the, it's not, fat does take longer to convert, but if you're fat adapted, that process is going on all the time. So it's like once you get ahead, it's always there. That energy, there's no dips in energy. You've just got this constant supply of energy. I've
What does that remind of?
Or anything yet, but at some point, when I start running in the future, because I am going to start running.
Fiber. This is exactly what fiber does.
But you know what? The more fat adapted you are, the easier it is to actually eat some carbohydrates and bounce back, metabolically flexible. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea, but that's what I've found from being a sugar addict into now being completely fat adapted. And, I can go months and months without carbohydrates or sugar. When I do have sugar, it's less and less impact now. And I find I bounce back. I don't have the same reaction to it. So all these studies that they're doing, they can't come from a 7-year fat adaptation metabolism. How are they going to know, right? Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add on what you said there, Tony, about when you're flexible, you're metabolically flexible. I've done this before. I thought I could just get away with just eating a little tiny bit of carbohydrate. Now I could, whereas before, if you put like a piece of chocolate in front of me, I'd eat the whole thing. Whereas now I could eat a piece of chocolate and I'd be absolutely fine. But that's not the problem. It's the next day. The next day I feel it. Oh, I can feel it. Oh shit! Like I've got massive headaches. I can feel my digestion all messed up. It definitely impacts me. Hugely. Hugely.
I'm just saying, like those we'll call them symptoms. Get because if you're in tune and you're eating your certain way, anything that you do differently, your body starts to recognize it, and you'll start to subtle differences, subtle symptoms. And then what I tell people is when you're in that state, you can decide now, is it worth it? Because you understand the effects of food. And if you don't know that, then how do you know what's causing what? You wake up with a headache, you think, oh, it's just me today, I have a headache. There's a cause and effect for everything. Oh, my ankle's hurting. Well, you didn't do anything. So why would it be aching? And and you can start relating these things to your diet. And I mean, quite often the leaky gut, grains, fiber, all that, plants, and I mean, all of us now, Bill included, have cut out this stuff for long enough that you can feel almost everything that you consume. And some
things even
will show you. And that's the choice.
I mean, the proof is there. I haven't been sick in 4 years, Chris. I haven't been in pain for 4 years. When I used to train, I used to struggle to recover. I train and it takes me about 2 or 3 days for me to go back to the gym and train again. I can go to the gym now every day. No problem. No, I can't remember the last time I had back pain, knee pain. Like I can't remember the last time I had a headache. Like it's mental.
I was just saying this last night in a conversation. I said, 12 months ago, I was getting and beyond. I was getting up every morning with more aches and pains, extra aches and pains, and I put it down to just getting old. Getting older, and then I realised when I was having this conversation last night that I've got no pain. I get up in the morning, I've got no pain at all. Whereas no new pains, no old pains, no pain. I get out of bed, no back pain, like you said there, Mark. I used to have dreadful back pain. No pain at all.
Yeah. And, just to switch a little bit.
It's got to be Carnivore, hasn't it? It's got to be losing the sugar. I mean, there's no other possible explanation for why that is.
Yeah. And it's almost like, the world has been, I don't know, you can call it programming, you can call it sleeping, whatever you call it. But when something's staring you right in the face, it's so bloody obvious. And yet people still defend the whole nutritionist, dietitian motto. You need carbohydrates. And it's like, okay, no, I don't need carbohydrates, man. I'm like, Mark and Bill, I can go to the gym and crush a workout. I just worked with, like I've told you guys before, my friend has a moving company and I go help him out. And I love to gauge myself against all the kids. I run circles around them. Like, it's ridiculous. They're huffing and puffing after a heavy lift up the stairs. And I'm looking at them like, come on, boys, let's go. Like, you're half my age and you're panting. And it's wild, And they're like, well, you must train and work out hard. I'm like, I go to the gym maybe once a week. Maybe. And it's like, no, it's not like that. It's just a different energy. But I wanted to switch gears onto the other side of things where there's a test, a coronary arterial calcium test, an Agatston test, where they test you go into they take a MRI or whatever it is of your heart. They see the plaquing. Now, in Canada, most doctors don't even know what that test is. My mother was told to go on a statin because she had high LDL cholesterol, which I was like, okay, do not. Anyway, I told her to tell her doctor, I want a CAC test. He issued it. Took her almost 10 months, 12 months to get it. And then they found plaque, freaked out, and they said, you gotta go on medications. You gotta go on. She told them, no, which is a mom, love it. But that's a timestamp. Anyway, a friend of our channel, she was on co-hosting a couple weeks ago, Lisa Moss. She's the Prairie Carnivore. Check her stuff out. She was like, okay, her family was all over about heart disease and like, us carnivores get. So she decided a year ago to go get a CAC score in the States. So she went down to Montana. She's from Alberta. Got a test done for relatively cheap. I think it was $100. And so this is for the Canadian people that know about this. You can go down to the States and get this done. I think in Washington State, from where I am, just go down. It's a private test, $100. Anyway, she got it done. She had a 0 score a year ago. So still, everybody was on her about, well, just wait. It's going to come. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Well, I'm going to report to you, and we're going to do this a little talk soon. We might even have her back on to talk about this. She just got it done a few days ago. 0 again. So no, I can't remember exactly how long she's been a carnivore for, but it's clear that her lifestyle is working out pretty well. She's got no signs of heart disease. And it was basically a middle finger to friends and family saying, what are you guys going to say? Like, how can you tell me that this is causing this disease? It's not. So
yeah, I have mine booked now for August, and I'm going to do the exact same video, the exact same.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what blows my mind is all this push towards statin drugs and heart disease based on a marker of LDL, but yet you go to ask for a test that looks for the disease and they won't issue it. It's almost like a fasting insulin test where they just say you don't need it, which is you want to put me on a drug to reduce my risk of heart disease, but yet you won't give me the test that shows me if I have the disease or not. It's wild. And that blows my mind.
This pisses me off big time. Like, this is all I hear when you go and see your doctor. When he does your blood work, your cholesterol is too high, but he never measures anything about glucose. He never mentions anything about insulin. He never mentions anything about blood sugar. Nothing. It's just like your cholesterol is too high. We need to bring this down. We need to put you on a statin immediately. I only had this with a young girl a week ago. This girl was only 29 years of age, guys. 29, and I think her cholesterol was I think it was around 190, 200, and our doctor had told her, like, this is too high. We need to get it down. And she reached out to me 2 days later because she's been watching my videos and she wanted to hear my side of it. And I told her straight, you need to sack this doctor. Get as far away from this person as you can. Seriously.
No doubt.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's funny that you say that, Mark, because my other uncle, I had a chat to him after we found out that my Uncle Brian had a heart attack. And I was like, he's been listening to me for the last poor guy's been getting his ear talked off for the last 6 years. So he's done some good things and he understands that. And his LDL cholesterol is high. The doctor wants him on a statin. I told him, go get this coronary arterial calcium score. And I was like, and don't think that the sugar isn't the problem. If you're drinking beer and you're eating nuts and you're cheating from time to time, this is the progression. This is where you have to, like, the prevention is the same as the treatment. And we got into it, and I was like, the doctors will never talk about the sugar. They'll always talk about the cholesterol. And don't get sucked into that, because obviously he's going to talk to his brother, and he's going to try and it's sad because the doctors are going to have this narrative, and they're going to scare the shit out of you. They're going to scare, like, if you don't do this, this will happen. And I don't know what there was a quote that I heard, and I can't remember who it was, which doctor or which scientist, that actually said heart attacks and heart disease, most of them, and I can't remember the exact percentage, but it was upper 80s, is actually type 2 diabetes undiagnosed. The disease is there, but they didn't follow that. They have the heart disease, they have the heart attack, but nobody connects the dots. And I mean, when you understand the damage that sugar does, it makes perfect sense. You know, like you
will typically walk around to even 10 years with type 2 diabetes before diagnosis, and you'll get maybe a blood test once in a while from a home practitioner or maybe from work, and they'll just test your cholesterol, or maybe just a single blood glucose value, and that value can still be okay, of course, if you just arrived at work without eating, for example, or those things. And so I can really imagine this undiagnosed type 2 diabetes, that it's really rampant.
And we all know diabetes, type 2 diabetes is a diagnosis. The disease is happening decades before you get it. Yeah. It's already a disease in progress, which, you know, they talk about, oh, okay, now your blood sugar is 6.2, you have diabetes. And, you know, where my blood sugar was getting to pre-diabetes, it's the same thing. It's just how long and how well your body's going to battle to get there. But it's ridiculous how they don't tie that together. And, you know, just even fasting insulin, to know how your insulin's going. Doctors will tell you don't need that test. I'm not ordering it. You have to pay, in Canada anyway, you have to pay $250 to get the same blood draw and that marker tested. It's unbelievable. And I mean, I have a hard time believing this is not some kind of business driven, you know, medical system design, because, like, I don't know, do they tell doctors not to test for this for a reason? You know, what are they? It's crazy. All of us have figured this out. Like, we figured out that sugar is a problem, and yet the system doesn't acknowledge it, and people are dying, which pisses me off. That, you know, we have all these people battling for this cause, and still people just are in denial about carbohydrates and sugar. It's wild.
It's scary, isn't it? It really is scary.
Yeah. And
just to finish up with another example is in the context of type 1 diabetes. A lot of type 1 diabetics have an A1C of, for example, 6.5 or 7, and their cholesterol might be slightly elevated. And what do doctors do? They don't talk about the A1C. They prescribe statins. They even applaud an A1C of 6.5. It's nonsense.
Yeah. And you know, just before we jump into what Peter eats, I want to say, like, a lot of times we don't look at the nutrients involved as well. I mean, if you're on a statin, take a look into coenzyme Q10. It's known to deplete it. You know, eat a lot of meat, you're going to be fine with coenzyme Q10, and also K2, vitamin K2, because, you know, with how your blood's working and like, you know, clots and thrombosis, like, being sufficient in vitamin K2, well, go figure. You know, if you're on a carnivore diet, you don't have to worry about that. Eating a lot of butter, and, you know, even sauerkraut has K2 in it, which is, I think it's the only plant matter that are fermented that has the K2 from animal foods. But it's something to keep in mind, which another thing they don't talk about is nutrition. You know, if you go for a heart attack, all they talk about is cholesterol. They don't talk about essential vitamins that you need to battle this stuff. Vitamin D. I mean, they'll talk about vitamin D as far as calcium, and go figure, it's calcification on the arteries that's a problem. Vitamin D is a very big deal, and vitamin K2 would follow it. So, you know, I mean, we all know this. Carnivore, it has it all. We don't have to worry about it. You're getting the right nutrients for this stuff. And I know there's a few more, but I don't want to go too deep into it. But anybody else have anything to say before we switch gears into some food stuffs?
No, you can move on.
Okay. Well, Peter,
Yeah.
what are you eating, buddy? I'm gonna put
Oh,
on this.
it's not there anymore, right? The video. I don't see it.
No, that's okay. But we're gonna put on a little background music for Peter. This is brought to you by Byron Funk, aka Carnivore Beef. And we're gonna do a little bit of an intro, but this is for Peter. We do. People wanted to know what you're eating, Peter. So let's go and let's get into it. All right, buddy. Take us through it, my friends.
Yeah, let's.
You got a sound bed.
See, so today I started 30 days lion diet. Well, let's first talk
lion
about
with
what's
lemons,
here.
but that's a good start.
This goes way too fast. I started 30 days lion diet because I had some issues from all the cheating that I did recently. All the small things, a small piece of fruit there, a little bit of, I eat sauerkraut sometimes, dairy, chocolate even. I use chocolate to correct my blood glucose. And all those small things on themselves are quite okay. But add them up on top of each other, and at some point you just start to feel suboptimal. Let's call it like that, because it's not like a disaster, but I do feel things in my digestive system that worsened. So my fridge looks like this. Where's the meat? So there's a bit of tallow here from lamb, but I'm switching to beef and lamb only for 30 days. And I'm eating it all raw from this dry aged meat, because that's another. This is a piece of brisket, but that's another thing that I had troubles with. Is I eat a lot of raw meat, which is very light on the stomach, but as soon as you combine it with things like coffee and other irritants, then I start to more easily run into troubles, because raw meat in the end needs a strong digestive system. I think that's the reason. So I switched to a full raw meat for 30 days. That sounds very scary, but it's just a ribeye.
Just beef sashimi, man.
Yeah, and it's this is really soft meat, very nice. And I'm not at all claiming that you should eat raw meat or anything. I just like it.
Yeah.
But I also want to mention people that if you are scared of raw meat, I get a lot of comments like parasites and salmonella. Well, if you don't heat up your meat up to 65 degrees Celsius, so I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but you have to heat it up to medium well done. So basically you have to destroy your steak in order to get rid of the so-called bacteria. So I really like to advocate at least softly cooked meat. So just do blue rare, medium rare as well. But don't destroy it, because there are reports of even carnivores being B12 deficient, because if you overcook your meat, if you really eat gray steaks and charred hamburgers all the time, that's really not a good idea. And I think also that could be very well a reason why, for example, meat is considered bad for people. Because you eat it from the barbecue if you're on a standard diet. People love charred meat, and of course you add all those other things, sauces, and
we know one person that doesn't like barbecues. We met her earlier. Could you imagine that? Like, that's it. That stuff. I didn't actually even know that, Peter, about the B12 and the overcooked. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was surprised as well, because B vitamins, well, they are water soluble, and
that makes sense for sure. Bill, what do you
but
think
I wasn't
about
expecting it from B12, because that's maybe the most abundant of all in the meat. But,
Bill, what do you think about all that raw meat? What are you? How would you go about it?
Well, I'm just going to ask you if you can send me all that fat over, because I love that fat. That's the best part. Throw the steak away, give me the fat.
That's exactly what Dr. Kiltz also mentions a lot.
I could eat raw.
Yeah,
I could eat raw steak. I could definitely eat raw steak. I like blue. I like mine cooked blue. If I stick a fork in it, I want it to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark would be a little lost because there's no pan there, so he'd have to eat it right off the fork. Right on, Peter. Thanks for that, buddy.
Meet Peter.
Yeah.
The type 1 boss.
We're gonna get into
blood
it.
sugar. Ribeye dry, salted in age. Peter don't flinch, he's fully engaged.
We're gonna switch we're gonna switch gears now, and we're gonna get into the next serious issue I wanted to address today, which is the Big C. It's out of control right now. I'm in my direct circle. There's 6 people that I know are suffering. One is my Auntie Sandy, who's like my mom's best friend, who basically got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, spread to her bones. She's going through all the shit. Not one time have they talked about diet. Not one time have they talked about nutrients. And I don't know about how long she has left, but she's suffering so greatly now because she's caught in that loop of all the shit that they're doing. Every day she's at a new appointment, a new thing to do about poking, prodding, checking. So it just, and it infuriates me because I made a couple videos about it. One got taken down as soon as I mentioned the medical system, the cancer research drugs, and what drives, and basically mentioning cancer as a business. And it was taken down. All the other talks were not. And just like the heart disease in the carnivore community, man, this is something that it's metabolic. And I think Dr. Thomas Seyfried's book, Cancer is a Metabolic Disease, I don't understand why it's not mainstream knowledge that this is even a theory. Why can't we talk about that? Sugar is the problem. And it's a theory that is give you the choice. Like, you know, you can do this medical system stuff, but maybe diet and lifestyle, cutting out the sugar, could save or at least extend life or stop the spread or be a partner in this stuff. And everybody's affected by this. Every single person in the universe has dealt with this disease in one shape or form. I mean, and I'm seeing people suffer, and it's now even it seems like it's just so quick now. I mean, when I was younger, you'd hear about it. People would live with it for a year or 2, maybe 3. Now it seems like it's diagnosis, death. And I don't mean to minimize that. It's tragic. And I'm not being silent. And I'm sick of it.
I mean, and yeah, at the end of the day, Tony, I feel your pain. I mean, I've spoken about this before on the podcast on many, many occasions. I lost 2 people very, very dear to me. And they both passed away to cancer. And when I seen these people pass away in 6 months, they deteriorated in front of my eyes. And I asked the question so many times to these doctors, like, why are you feeding these people medication? Why are you constantly feeding them with sugar? I asked these questions. And I've said this on many, many occasions on these podcasts, that my biggest regret is I didn't fight harder for these 2 people. From what I know now, I should have literally did a lot more with these doctors. I should have said, listen, this needs to fucking stop. Okay, I'm not an expert. Myself and Tony are not experts. We're not saying we're experts. We're not saying we're doctors. But what we are saying is that surely there must be a different route than just going down this medication route. There must be. And how do we know there isn't unless you actually try it? How do we know that sugar isn't the problem? How come maybe it is the problem? How do we know? How can we convince people that it's not the problem? How do we keep on telling people that it's not sugar? It has nothing to do with sugar. We only had Dr. Lane Norton fucking talking yesterday that when it comes to alcohol, there's no sugar in alcohol. It's just like, how can we listen to these people? Like, it's beyond a joke. It really is. And I can honestly, it really, really hurts my feelings as well when I see so many people in the world that are struggling with this condition and they're not being given the advice that they need. And then when we come along when we come along, myself and Tony, and we're like, okay, let's question this. Maybe let's do a video on this. Let's give people a different opinion on this. TikTok had the audacity just to take it off. They're not gonna listen to our side of the story. They're just gonna block it straight away. Straight away, we're taking this down because we've mentioned the big C. It's wrong, guys. It's absolutely wrong.
And Mark, and the thing that really drives me crazy is the business side of it. I was with my Uncle Steve. We were trading some stocks. This was quite a few years ago, and it was right when I was starting to do some research, obviously with my health and nutrition and getting into it. But when I was learning about these biotech stocks and doing research into these drug companies, it's all a drive for the standard of care. They are not trying to cure nothing. They don't give a shit about the cure. They don't want to cure it. They are all trying to push the next drug being implemented in the standard of care. And it's obvious. No one will admit that, but that's what it is. So all these stocks are all designed to get more people using these drugs. And if you can implement it into every doctor on the planet using it for the treatment, that's the way you go. That's where the money is. And we talk about holistic healing through diet and lifestyle, and we get shut down. It's unbelievable. And I'm pissed about it because, I'm watching this girl who's a friend of my girlfriend's best friend's friend. She's resorting to eating applesauce because no other food is going down. Not one supplement, not one IV vitamin. How can you sustain yourself and your immune system fight this on fucking applesauce? And, I've offered to talk to her, and, I understand because this gets really, really muddy really fast. You're already in that fear cycle. And when the doctors are hammering you with all this stuff, this is the only way to do this, the chances aren't good. Someone comes along and talks about, well, it can help you with diet and lifestyle. They're already out of it. And I'm helping my clients right now prevent this from doing what they're doing. They're on their way. They've cut out the sugar. They've cut out the carbs. They're losing body fat percentage. They're getting metabolically healthy. If cancer is a metabolic disease, then that's the way to help. If it's not lung cancer or breast cancer or prostate cancer, it's cancer. And every cell is genetically possible to mutate.
It's weird also. As a diabetic, you get sent to a dietitian. The dietitian will not only talk about how to manage your diabetes, but how to be healthy and according to the standard guidelines, of course. But this doesn't happen for cancer patients, probably, right? And the same thing for blood labs. Like blood labs for vitamin panels and minerals and all these things, they are expensive. But if you're a cancer patient, those costs are negligible. And we should do everything to make people 100%, as healthy as possible aside to the cancer. And
And if anybody knows, Bill, do you know who Dr. Thomas Seyfried is? Okay, this is what it's unbelievable that people don't know who this guy is. Anyway, he's a PhD out of I think Boston University, and he had his whole life dedicated to cancer research. He figured out that cancer is a metabolic disease. How it happened was the Otto Warburg effect, a big history about sugar. And in the early 40s, I think this doctor in Germany found out that sugar was the problem, but he couldn't figure out there's an X factor that was feeding the cancer. Anyway, the whole system got pushed to the genetic theory of cancer, not the metabolic theory. Thomas Seyfried looked into this, and he figured out that the problem's in the mitochondria, and it's the energy of the cell that is driven by, go figure, sugar. Sugar feeds the cancer. And I don't want to get too deep into the science side of it, but he found out glutamine, which is an amino acid, was the other fuel source. So if you shut these two fuel sources down, the cancer can't survive. It's pretty simple. And I'm not minimizing this whole process. Obviously, there's a lot of complications to it. But his research money got shut down as soon as he figured this out. As soon as he wrote this book, as soon as he was like, he mentioned 1,600 people in the U.S. are dying every day. I can help 95% of them. And now I don't have any money. Nobody's funding my shit. And that's what blows my mind. And You know, all of us in some way, shape, or form, our metabolic health is, if what we're doing is the ultimate cancer prevention, you know, people are going to fight this. And then it ties back into, you know, a carnivore passes away. And it's like, this may be a life-saving intervention. We all worry about it. We all get affected by it, but yet we don't know. And when we mention it could be sugar, oh, no. They defend it. And it's really, really frustrating.
I know.
This doctor should have a Nobel Prize. And I mean, you know, it's wild. So I don't know, man. I'm pretty mad about this because, you know, I've known about this guy for 5 years. I've seen someone had something.
Go ahead.
The
Bill.
problem the problem with sugar, when you're talking about sugar to people, they don't want to accept how damaging sugar is in more ways than one. You know, they don't, because it's part of everyday life. And like you said, we get our kids addicted to them from a very early age. People won't accept that they're addicted to sugar. They just won't accept it. The amount of people I speak to and say, look, you are addicted to sugar. I was addicted to sugar. And they won't have it. And it's more damaging than blooming heroin. You know, it destroys lives. But people won't accept it. On the cancer thing, you know, I think if it ever happened to me, and you know, because I've done all sorts of my life, and you know, even though I'm carnivore now and I'm not taking sugar now, doesn't mean that there's no damage there already. But I would fast. I'd either live or die. I'd fast.
Yeah.
I'd fast it out.
Yeah, starve the body sugar. Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I absolutely agree. And Corey, I'm like, man, I feel you. Like, I'm hearing all these stories, and it's just, you know, I've been hearing about this for the last, you know, 5 years, whatever. I've seen his interviews with like almost every single, like Dr. Berg, and even on some carnivore channels, and it just makes me scream that he doesn't do anything that's not like. He doesn't say just do this and don't do that. He's saying this stuff is diet and lifestyle can work with these treatments. You know, cut out seed oils, cut out sugar. And if you're working with me, we'll give you a drug that's off label. Nobody makes money on it, to block glutamine at certain points so that you can get this regenerate. And then he encourages fasting. Go figure, right? Like, what the hell, man? You know, and then someone comes along and says, well, that's ridiculous. What do you mean ridiculous? Like, we're not even looking into this? I mean, I've had some conversations with a few doctors. It's not even on their radar. You know? Like, go to a dietitian, sort out your lifestyle. It's like, this is crazy. And, you know, nowadays, especially, like, I don't know about you guys, but we're hearing more and more people are getting, you know, the bad news. And it's almost like they're dying so much faster now. And this stuff is with every cancer. Glioblastomas, which has a 97% chance of, like, whatever the terminal side of it is. It's like, it's not good. I think you have 4 weeks once they diagnose it. It's crazy. Those are reversing, are slowing down. So this whole shit, it's crazy how they put it in box. Like, oh, we're going to treat you for lung cancer. We're going to treat you for prostate cancer, breast cancer. What about it's just your body is cancerous, and you need to fix your health, you know, and your health is the thing that got you there. So all of our diets, all of our journeys, we're actually preventing this stuff. It's building resilience. It's building because I'm sorry, but I don't know about how you guys feel about this. Everything around us is carcinogenic. We've got different EMF frequencies. We've got forever chemicals. We've got shit on the plastic bags. I'm not saying like it, but doing our diet the way we're doing it, I think carnivore can save your life. And, you know, low carb fixes the metabolism, of course, but, you know, the autoimmune issues, it seems like the more unhealthy you are, the more strict carnivore it seems, that you might have to be. But the whole way is metabolic health, and it's sugar. It's like,
and at the end of the day, if you gave me a choice and I was on my deathbed, eat a steak for the next 6 months or be on medication for the next 6 months, you can be damn sure I'm going to be eating the steak. That's it. Like, I mean, this is what we need to be looking at. It's like everybody has to eat. I don't understand why people don't understand this. Everybody has to eat. So why are we not looking at this? Why are we not looking at what people are eating on a daily basis? Everybody's convinced that we're all eating processed food. But like Bill mentioned earlier on, when he mentioned that people don't understand where the sugar comes from, they're saying, okay, well, I'm eating the complex carbohydrates, I'm eating the oats, I'm eating the rice, I'm eating the sweet potatoes. I don't have a sugar addiction. And it's like, you do have a sugar addiction because you're still eating carbohydrates. Yeah. They don't understand this. They haven't got a clue where this sugar's coming from.
Or a step further, Mark, is you don't have a sugar addiction. Your body does.
Yeah.
It's simple physiology, and it's a drug. If you look at it as a drug, this is a big problem. And if this stuff was, that doesn't matter true or not true. How come, like Peter mentioned, we don't get this news, and then we do not get the talk about nutrition and nutrients? You get talk about your chemo coursing and your radiation thing, and then there's this experimental drug. Or would you like to be part of a study? That's what they tell people. We're experimenting this new drug. That's the hope that you give. And I've heard it, I've seen it, I've had people in my life be part of this, and it fucking blows my mind that we can't even talk about nutrition.
Absolutely. This is one thing that really pisses me off as well. You need to go by the data. You need to go by the trial. You need to go by what this paper says. We need to go by the science. It's like, oh my God, like, I don't want to hear this rubbish anymore. I want to see evidence. I want to hear people. Like, we've spoken to the likes of Selena. Selena's battled with cancer. Are we calling this person a liar?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a woman on this now that's been messaging for the last couple of minutes. I think her name is Nivanka. She also dealt with cancer. She's a full carnivore now. Do we call these people liars?
What's that? Sorry? Yeah. And I mean, even with Krista Louise, which really kind of pisses me off, because we talked about the Ozempic side of things, and her cancer news, and it seems like whenever we talk about this stuff, for whatever reason, it gets suppressed. We're having some technical issues. Bill, are you all good? I don't know what's going on.
Bit of a scraping noise in the background.
Yeah, I think one of his videos is, there we go. You good? Bill, are you here? Uh-oh.
I'm back again. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, and I mean, I'm mad as hell because I'm seeing people suffer, and I'm trying to, you can't even have that initial conversation with somebody. Like, have you ever thought about like giving your body the nutrients it needs to be fighting this shit? We talk about all these.
That in the Netherlands, in the past, like 20, 30 years ago, there was this scandal of a woman that was practicing alternative health. And so there is coming a sort of trauma, I think, that now let's say, society, media, or whatever, or government, or whatever, fears that people start to promote alternative treatments and steering patients away from the general treatment. And of course, that's not what we are saying here. We are talking about nutrition as an additional way of healing. And another thing I think is important to mention, we talk about it in the context of an already diagnosed cancer, but I think also metabolic health is very important to make yourself resilient to all those cancer generating elements in the environment. And I lost track a little bit, but I think that we should look at all of that.
Nutrition, right? And there's another side of this too, which, how come they're not saying, like, get out in the sun as much as possible, get your feet on the ground as much as possible, drink the best water you can, like the the purest water you can, and then eat a whole food, natural human diet. And we all have our opinions on what that is, but this is stuff that's free. This is stuff that is proven now to help your body heal, and all this stuff, like even in frequency, like sound and frequency. There's a guy who figured out that if you blast the cancer cells with this frequency, Rife, it's I can't remember his name, Royal Rife, and this frequency shatters the cancer cells. Why don't we know? I'm not sure how he passed, but I don't know why that's not just a thing. Like, what's the cost of it? Nothing. There's no downside to listening to a frequency and just sitting there. So even if it doesn't work, is it like, why aren't we trying these alternative things that are possible? And now, I mean, I know there's Rife machines out there, but they're very taboo and very like underground. But it's unbelievable how he figured some stuff out, and then he gets put aside as well, and nobody knows about this shit. And that's right. I think we just saw this. There's no money in it, and if that's the thing that's driving me nuts, is that there's.
But that's the only thing that people have to realize and be aware of, that you shouldn't focus on a single thing. So that's maybe what went wrong in this example, like 30 years ago here, that people start to hear about this machine that does wonders.
Yeah.
But of course, the story is not as simple as that. It's the entire holistic approach, like the food you're eating, the environment you're in, maybe toxins, fungi. I have no idea. Those things could all play a role.
Yeah.
And then there is, I imagine, if you're in an acute phase of cancer, of course you'll have also the hospital treatments and that sort of stuff. But it's not a simple story anyway. I mean, if you look at Jeff the Prosperous, this guy is, I've seen a lot of videos on Homestead Howard, and he was taking cold baths, he was fasting, he was taking all kinds of supplements as well, because he was not just doing it with diet. He was taking a lot of pills to ensure that his vitamin status was correct. He was doing a lot more.
And Venka just mentioned parasites. And okay, let's go down the parasite road. Parasites, they feed on sugar. Right? Everything in the universe loves sugar. No shit. Like, this is the craziest thing that blows my mind. And it's next level. And like what Mark is saying, we've talked to Selena, we've talked to Krista. They have reversed their cancer using diet. Why aren't they being celebrated and brought out into the public? Everybody okay here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
We got some Bill. Bill, are you with us? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm having connection problems, so I'm not hearing very well sometimes.
Okay, no worries. It's that international internet. Well, you know what, boys, I think that might be because I'm hearing a little feedback, so maybe we got a bad connection. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I can hear a bit of an echo in the background.
So our apologies for this stuff, but I want to kind of wind it up today by saying, I'm taking my gloves off, boys. I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I mean, we've all talked about this. I'm starting to become very loud, and I'm gonna start, doing what I can to punch people in the face in the medical system, and in using our ways of getting this word out there, because I mean, we've all seen miraculous things happen. I mean, Bill, your story is phenomenally impactful. You've got the greatest attitude about it, and I love your no nonsense approach that really, it's like people better start listening. And I mean, I know we've got a great carnivore community, but it's time that we kind of expand to the people and make them hear us.
Well, and doctors, I mean, I had to go and see about a hernia when they removed my gallbladder years ago. I ended up with a surgical hernia that didn't become apparent until I started losing all the weight. And now I've got this like lump sticking there. Anyway, the bottom line is they won't operate on it. They're going to send me for a CAT scan, but they won't operate because they reckon my bowel will be attached to the skin now, so it's not worth the risk. But I was telling him about my fatty liver disease and that I am carnivore. Oh, you don't want to be doing that, the surgeon said. You know, you need to look after your liver. And fat is not good for your liver. I said, no, sugar isn't good for my liver. I wish if people would listen. It's the sugar that destroyed my liver, not the fat. So
I mean, at the end of the day, why are 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds developing fatty liver disease? Like, these people don't even drink alcohol. These are only kids, and they're developing this condition at a young
They're also
age.
not carnivore.
Exactly. So it's just like seriously, the hypocrisy is unbelievable.
But it's that, like I said earlier on, it's that sugar that you cannot speak out against sugar because everyone, you know, it's like the reason I didn't go carnivore years ago was because I had that, I like bread too much. You know, that was my excuse. I like bread too much. Well, now I like life too much.
Way to go. I love it. I love it. That's hey, and you know, and that's that argument, that's that thing, the conversation that we have is, you know, I'm seeing so many people there. I don't know if it's denial, probably big denial programming, but they all have that oh, I could never do that. Well, I'll tell you what, the suffering that I've seen, the time to be on your toes and fix your metabolic health is now. We don't know what's coming next. They threw a pandemic at us and had us, you know, beaten down, shut in, not exercising, skipping dishes, drinking alcohol. What do you think the next thing is going to be? I mean, you know, then they throw in these medical interventions that you must do. I would, you know, in my humble, honest opinion, people better wake the fuck up and start thinking about their metabolic health because it could go bad very fast. And you know, that's kind of what my take on this is, you know, the odds are against all of us, the industry, the big food, big pharma, whatever you want to call it, the medical industrial complex, you know, telling you your fatty liver is your problem, that it's, you know, we don't stop eating fat, you know. Fat doesn't make you fat.
Fat does not make you fat. Fat does not make you fat.
And
it's already fat, which I told people all weekend.
Yes.
I'm worse than a vegan, me, because I tell everybody about carnivore, everybody that'll listen.
No, that's good.
You know, everyone at that festival got it this weekend. Everyone.
Right on.
Did you see my little video? I put a post out with the picture of what people were eating next to me. It's right like, that's not good for you.
I love it, man. Well, guys, maybe we'll wind this one up. I had a pretty good time today. Bill, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate your input. And, you know, it's tragic about Nick Cannon, and I agree with it's not the carnivore diet, unfortunately and sadly. And, you know, thanks for coming on and help us defend our way. And and how do people get Bill? How do people get a hold of you? And just give a quick how people find it.
www.cumbriancarnivore.co.uk. That's my website. I'm on TikTok at Cumbrian Carnivore. I'm on Facebook at Cumbrian Carnivore, and Instagram Cumbrian Carnivore. There's only one of us so far, but I'm building an army.
And how I saw you're making some merchandise.
Yes, I've got T-shirts and mugs. Awesome. Eat meat, not wheat is one of the slogans, and put the pork on the fork is another one.
Right on. Well, Bill, thanks for being here too. And everybody, we did an interview with Bill. It's on our channel. Go check it out. Please subscribe to all his stuff on TikTok, on YouTube, whatever Bill's at, the Cumbrian Carnivore. Please check him out. Any last words, Bill, before we wind it up? And then we'll talk to these boys. But anything else you want to say before we
Not really. I'm encouraged by the amount of people that are actually following what I'm not just following me on social media, but following my story and getting on board with it and making a difference in their own lives. Sometimes we do these kind of things and we don't see the end result, you know, and then when people are coming up to you saying thank you for helping them just by posting, and none of this is about boasting. It's about spreading the word and trying to help people to get healthier. And you know, it works. You know, I'm 50 kilos down. You know, I can walk 7 miles. I've never been able to do that. I can go up mountains now, which I've never been able to do. Not since I was a kid, anyway. So you know, it's you know.
Oh
no, he's
Peter said keto. Sorry about that. Somebody phoned again. So as Peter said, you know, keto is a good diet as well. You know, I'm not going to knock the keto diet. The only reason I am not keto is like I said earlier, I can't be bothered with all that prepping and pretending that something it's not. And meat in the oven very quickly, or the air fryer, eggs fried in the frying pan, and you know, and sprinkle cheese on it, and that's me.
Attaboy. Well, Bill, and yeah, please, everybody, don't go check out our interview with Bill. It was a great time. Mark and I had. I can't. Peter was there or not. I can't remember, but we had fun.
No, he wasn't.
And Bill, we'll have you back on anytime. Well, I love the energy, and your spark is fantastic. Thanks, buddy. Peter, any last words, and where can people find you?
Yeah, no, just to mention that indeed keto is basically already half carnivore, right? If you do it a certain way, you are maybe even 80-90% carnivore. So go keto, I'd say, as a final remark. But yeah, you can find me as Dutch Carnivore on TikTok, Dutch Carnivore on Instagram, and Dutch Carnivore on YouTube.
Attaboy. And next week, we're going to find out how Peter's eating. We love that shit. And we didn't get to write that down this week because I think we had a lot to talk about, Mark. But Mark, any last words and where people can find you?
Well, I was just going to echo what Bill said. The reason why we do this is to just spread awareness. That's what we're doing this for. We're just for kind of spread out awareness and let you guys hear a different voice. But yeah, you guys can find me on social media at Fitness Beyond Time 01. And I know a lot of people were commenting today. If you guys ever want to come on our show, you can send me an email at nsmark93 at gmail.com. I know you guys have an amazing story. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll try and get you guys on as a guest also.
Yeah, man, we'd love to have you. And that's for sure. And everybody that's commenting and joined us today, we do appreciate all the support, the comments. Please help us out by hitting the like and subscribing to the channel. I know this is kind of like over repeated and shit, but it does help us push this through. And you know what? If there's anybody that this could cause a little controversy with, share it. That's the people we want. If they watch it or not, it doesn't matter. Just please help us out with sharing this message. And we do appreciate all that stuff. We are live every Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. in the UK and Ireland, 7 p.m. in the Netherlands. Subscribe to all the channels. Please help us out. And also, you can find me at Tony_Food for Thought on Instagram and TikTok. You can find my website at TonyStewartCoaching.com. I am working on a course to help women. It's going to be launching in September. I'm going to try and get these guys involved with it. But it's going to be, you know, a lot of the myths, the lies, to help women with hormones. We interview people every week, and we've got a lot of women that are fixing their health, the so-called impossible things. So we're actually driving that. I'm going to post a link below to a document that I created to help women maybe see the light. So if you could share that with anybody, it's just a document, and it's kind of opens up your eyes to the possibilities. Please follow Mark and Victoria on the Carnivore Evolution podcast. They do this. They've got their YouTube channel, and they're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. They do more in-depth one-on-one interviews all the time. It's really great. We support them. We love them. Thanks again, everybody. Just wanted to shout out to the Carnivore community on Instagram. I had a great time. Thank you for us being there. I know Mark's a big part of it. Peter's been there. And they're great people. We love it. We have a great time. If I've missed anybody today, I'm sorry. Byron, we love the music, my man. Please subscribe to Carnivore Beats. Y'all are awesome. Happy Sunday. We'll see you next week.